Hey guys, and welcome to the season opener of 949 Sim Racing. I think we started with a grid walk. So the track conditions are tricky. Even though there's a wet track, it is a dry line going through, so it leaves the option for different tyre choices. So first we have the number 3 Lexus of Luke Southall with slick tyres. Then going over to the 36, he's also running on slicks. So on the second line of the grid we have the 25 Bentley being driven by Pro Sim Leo, and it looks like he's going to be running wets in this race, but who knows, it might change when we go to the pits. And as we come over to Hutchins, we can see that he's also riding wets, so wets on the second row. On the fourth row we have the 91 Nissan driven by Shane Reese, and it looks like he's running wet tyres this race. Yep, that's wet tyres. He's running wet tyres this race. And as we come over we have Kostovic. I do apologise if I got your name wrong, and he is also running wets in that 240 McLaren. So heading down to the fourth row we have C. Burns in the number 7 Aston Martin, and it looks like he's running wets, so wets for him. And as we come over to Frazen, it looks like he's also running wets in that 888 Audi, so it's going to be interesting on this start. Fifth row has Belton in ninth position in the 949 Lamborghini. Looks like he's also running wets. And we have Walker in the 421 Bentley also running wets. So far we only have 2 people running slick tyres for this race. So row 6 we have the 31 Ferrari driven by Nord, and the tyres he is running are wets. So he's running wet tyres in that Ferrari. And next we have the 248 McLaren, and it looks like he might be running slicks. So you can get a closer look or a more clear look, but yep, that looks like he's running slicks this race. So that's interesting for further back of the grid. Row 7 has the 23 Lexus driven by Murdoch, and it looks as though he might be running wets. Yeah, he's running wets for this race. And then the 444 Ferrari is that slicks? That looks like, yeah, it looks like the 444 Ferrari is running slicks. So there we go. We've got 4 cars in the field running slicks while everyone else is running wet so far. So that's going to be really interesting as the race progresses. As we get down to row 8, yep, that looks like wet tyres. Definitely wet tyres for the 64 Porsche and wet tyres for the 47 Nissan. Sadly for the Porsche and the Nissan at the back here, they didn't manage to complete a valid lap time, so would have been interested if they could where they would have actually been, but is what it is. So as the race now starts, it's going to be interesting to see how these first corners are going to go, or this first lap, with 4 cars running dry tyres and everyone else running wets. So everyone get ready as we get ready to start the first race of 949 Sim Racing season, which is season 2 race 1 at Nürburgring GP, with, as you can see, wet conditions, but you can still see that it does have a dry line. Bit strange how it's set up, but it is a dry line while it's raining. Why not? So the race is underway, and we can see a few cars starting to move about, looking for a better line ready for the first corner. Southall on the inside, but now we can see that Leo just moves across. Southall overshoots the corner. I presume it's because he was originally on the wet line, and we found out he's running slick tyres, which allowed Sakame and Leo to get through. Everyone else coming through the Mercedes arena, some of them side by side, but all looking pretty clean. So good job by the drivers so far, no offs. As we start to exit, we can still see a little bit in the back that people are jostling for position. But again, no incidents, and Burns is now all over the back of Kostovic. Looking to get to that inside, thinks better of it. As we see Sakami come off the track, I don't know what happened there. Just as I looked up, I saw Sakami in the grass. I'm sure we'll get a replay of that. But Sakami is already looking to fight back as he's up the inside of Burns. And then you have Shane Reese up the inside of Kostovic. Looks like he's taken that position. And Sakami is now fallen back. Coming into Dunlop, hard on the brakes. You see Shane Reese goes wide, and also Burns as Sakami and Kostovic go up the inside of the drivers they're overtaking. Looking further back, it looks like his still position's being gained further back also, but we're going to stick to this battle at the moment. Kostovic ahead of Shane. Sakami, I don't know what happened there, but Sakami just come off track. It looked as though he might have lost a little bit of control of the car on the exit of Schumacher. But as we come round to the next corner, we just see Luke Southall also off track. And he's re-entered the track ahead of Kostovic. So this first lap has already seen some drama. No one hitting each other, just people losing control due to the tricky conditions. We're now riding on board with Hutchins to see what happened with Sakami. As we come out of the Mercedes arena, you can see that Hutch is all over the back of the Southall. But see if we can just about see it. Southall goes up the inside, and that looked like a touch. It looked like a touch. It looked like Sakami got hit to the outside. Sakami may have turned in, not expecting him to be there, but it definitely looked like Sakami had been clipped and pushed to the outside. Now as we're right on board with Sakami, we can see him catching up to the 888 Audi, and it looks like he is making his way back up the field. So as we approach the Mercedes, we can see that Sakami is all over the rear bumper of that Audi, just not letting him go at all. That Audi still holding his line though, still not allowing Sakami to pass. This is early days, but Audi doing a good job so far. We've got to take a moment to appreciate this diffuser cam. It's a free cam setting on the game. Just stick it on a diffuser and look at this camera angle as Sakami is nearly tags the back of that Audi, nearly tags him, but does well to keep it, and goes up what looks to be the outside of the next corner. Yeah, it's the outside of the curve, but now as we pop to Dunlop, it's the inside, and Sakami overshoots. Sakami overshoots the corner, which makes him now lose 2 positions. That was good hard battling, but such a shame for Sakami to end up losing an extra position. So that 31 Ferrari of Noel got past Sakami, and it's now his turn, I guess, to try and get past Fraser. Looking at the replay on board with Sakami, I wonder what happened here. So we're coming up to Schumacher S's, you've got the Nissan front, he just loses it. Taking a little bit too much curb on the inside of the Schumacher S's, and yeah, just lost traction. Remember, Sakami is running on slicks, so running on those curbs are going to be extra slippery for him, and just loses it. Friesen seems to be pulling away from Nord now as Sakami seems to be catching him, coming through NGK. Let's take a ride on the back of Kostovic, as we can see that the Nissan is looking pretty racy. He looked to have gained a bit out of that corner, but doesn't seem to be having a lot on that straight line. Sticking to that wet line, seeing as tyres is a big factor in this race. If you're on that dry line in those wet tyres, it doesn't take long at all for those tyres to warm up and start chewing the tyres up. Kostovic looks like he went a little bit wide into that corner, but the Nissan couldn't capitalise on it at all. Coming through Mercedes, and Nissan is trying to stick to those wet lines by the looks of it to try and keep those tyres cool. Nissan might be having issues trying to keep the tyres cool in the wet conditions, I don't know. He seems to be really trying to stay on those wet lines. The field seems to have calmed down a bit now. Starting to develop a little bit of pockets here and there. It looks like Sakami's got past Node. Node's now chasing Sakami. Sakami looks to be chasing the Audi of Fraser. Yeah, I think he's chasing the Audi of Fraser. Oh, it must have been a mistake by Node, or Jigsaw had a better run out of that corner as he blew past Nord as if he was standing still. Maybe Nord had a bad run out of that corner because Beltan is all over the back of him now. So let's see how this little battle actually develops. Beltan trying to stay as close as possible, but getting kicked by a lot of the spray coming off from Nord's Ferrari. Coming through Dunlop, we can see that Beltan seems to have had a better run out of that corner than Nord, but just can't seem to get past. Coming up the Schumacher S's, Nord holds the line, and yeah, Beltan can't seem to get past. That's not the place that you can make a move in normal dry conditions, never mind wet ones. So Beltan does a good job to stay out of it and not get tangled up in that situation. But yeah, Beltan really all over the back of Nord. Sakame looking really close to that Audi again as we pass through Coca-Cola. You can really see the tyre strategies playing out here. So the 888 we know is on wet tyres, so he's staying in the wet line to stay cool, but it also gives him the inside line. Sakame on that dry line. Comes across, but doesn't hit Sakame, but does force Sakame to go out wide. So with Sakame being forced out wide, that puts him in the wet track, and with his slicks, his car definitely doesn't like that. Sakame recovering, back on the back of the Audi, as they come out of the Mercedes arena, riding on board with Sakame now. And is Sakame going to get a move done? He is all over the back of that Audi now. Up the inside, but he is in the wet line. And he makes it stick just about. No, oh, that Audi's back. But Sakame's still on the inside. And I think Sakame's just got it now. Yeah, Sakame ahead. Well done by Sakame. Even in the wet part of the track, he managed to just about keep the car sticking to the track. So really good driving by Sakame, and it looks like he's really on his way to get his recovery drive. Replay on Hutch as we see for some reason Pro Street Sim Leo ascending into the heavens on the right. Sakame there just losing the back end. So yeah, Pro Sim Leo seem to have had connection issues. The way this game works, cars go to heaven. So yeah, Pro Sim Leo, real shame, really good racer, but he is now out of this race by the looks of it, with connection issues. Still watching Sakame now. So it'll be interesting to see how Sakame manages to make a recovery. Fingers crossed that he is a fast driver, and there's not going to be any more incidents for him, and we can just see how his outright pace. And look at that! The Nissan has come off coming round Coca-Cola, which now promotes Sakame up another position, but also promotes Fraser. And it'll be interesting to see where that Nissan is now 7th. But I wouldn't hold my breath on that one, the way this works. Yet we can see just coming on screen then, Jigsaw managed to get past him. So Reese passed the finish line before Jigsaw. So that puts him ahead in the sector. Looks like getting an onboard now of what happened. Oh, and coming through NGK, he just loses it. Again, those slippery conditions are real tricky, especially as you're crossing over that racing line, because you suddenly got grip, then you got no grip, and then you got grip again, and then we know that Reese is running on wet tyres, and the wet tyres do not respond to being across two different surfaces at the same time. Well, no tyres do really, but yeah, that's just unfortunate. So that puts him down into 8th position behind Jigsaw. So is he going to make a comeback? We know Jigsaw's a really good driver, but it'll be interesting to see how the order's going to file out over the race. Riding on board with Southall now, and it looks like he's looking to get around Kostovich, sticking to that dry line because he'll have no grip at all on that wet one. Kostovich kicking all his water that he can in Southall's face, cover up his windscreen the best he can, and Kostovich looks like he's running a little too deep. That allows Southall to get up the inside, but Southall's now compromised on that wet line. Oh no, he got past, and it looks like those two were just about to swap round. Shane Reese managed to get around Jigsaw. When did that happen? Either way, it looks like he is looking to get on a recovery drive. So Shane Reese goes up to 7th position. And what do we have here? We have Cisco looking up against Murdoch. Yeah. Should we go up and down the order now? How's this first turn gonna handle with these two? Oh, Murdoch goes way off track. He must have like really missed his braking point on that one. So he goes way off track. Cisco gets promoted to 12th position. That's interesting. I wonder if it was just that he overshot his braking point. Or, I can't remember, is he running slicks? I think he's running wet. I'm not entirely sure. Let's have a look what's going on here. So we have Nord following the 3 cars now battling for 6th position. Nord doing a good job. Looked like he's running in a little bit too deep there then. Beltan taking a risk, running over that wet, slippery surface, but he managed to keep it there. But yeah, the race seems to have been to be leveling out now. Looks to be a bit of a battle going on ahead of Nord. I think it's to do with the 91 Nissan and the 888 Audi, but we'll wait for the camera to change. But yeah, let's take this opportunity to say thank you 949 for putting these races on. Last season was really good. Been really looking forward to the new season. Been interested in doing these videos, so the opportunity presented itself. What a way to start the new season as well with these conditions. Oh, so what's going on here? We have the Nissan. We're on the front splitter of the Nissan, but I think that Audi is doing well to keep his line. He's keeping his position. Oh, I thought the Nissan went into a bit of a slide then. I thought he was just about to lose it, but no, it's just the gyro on the camera on the splitter. Trying to keep track of that Audi. So the Nissan was looking up the inside, but changed his mind, thought better of it. Can't make a lunge like that, especially in these conditions. On board. Oh, whoa, we have here the 888 Audi just loses it coming round the corner. He loses it on corner exit. And that promotes the Nissan. So the Nissan moves up to 6th position. And what do we have here? More drama. The 23 Lexus has just lost it on the exit of Mercedes. So that also promotes the 47 Nissan. So Slow Racing Team looks to be moving up. And just as I say that, commentator's curse, I do apologise. He just about comes off, but I think he'll manage to keep his position. So back to the pointy end, we can see the Gixxer is really closing down on Reese, and Nord is closing down on Gixxer. So we now have a battle for 6th position between 3, and that Audi looks like it's getting closer again. So it's coming into 4 cars. So the top 4, these 4 cars, I think, are probably separated by maybe a second and a half. There's really not a lot in it. 47 Nissan coming round. So he's done well to get up to the position. Wait, he's gone round. The 47 Nissan has made a mistake. He has gone round on Coca-Cola. I've cursed this guy twice now. I was just going to say he's done well to... he's just had a bit of a collision with Cisco. I was just going to say from the back of the grid, he's done well to get to 11th position. That's really good driving by PK. But yes, cursed him twice now. Poor guy. Southall now looking to pass Hutchins. Hutchins keeping his line. I know, if I remember correctly, Hutchins is on wet tyres, where Southall is on dry tyres, which looks to be about right, because Southall was just taking that dry line then, whereas Hutchins is trying to stay in the wet. Yeah, Hutchins trying to stay in the wet. So coming up Schumacher, Southall drops out. Didn't want to battle up there. Wise choice. And Hutchins just keeping his line. Keeping him honest. Southall getting really close though. But not had an opportunity to pass yet. This might be the opportunity to come in that he needs. He's got a good run on Hutchins here as we're coming up to NGK. Is he going to actually... Who's going to bail out first? Hutchins has the inside line and it looks like Southall has conceded the position for now. But that goes to show Southall is feeling very racy, and that was dangerous. That was very dangerous. So we saw Reese lose his car there, and he was on wet tyres. Southall on dry tyres really runs up that curb. That was a risky manoeuvre. But now Southall looks to have a really good run, but he is on the outside line for turn 1. But ultimately he's on that dry line. Is he going to do the under? Hutchins goes wide. Yes, he's done the under. Does he retain that position? And it looks like he does. He managed to pull far enough away. I think Hutchins just had another bobble there. So yeah, Southall now first. Hutchins down to second. That was interesting. I didn't think Southall was going to get past for a minute then. But Hutchins made a few errors which ultimately pushed him further back. Just cycling through the other cars a minute to see if there's any other battles going on. Because the problem with the relative time is it only updates on sectors. So it's not actually real time updates, it's sector time updates. So we sort of like have to filter through to see if there's any other battles going on. I do like that livery on that Aston Martin, because the way the livery is on the side of that Aston Martin, you can see that the driver's all stenciled there, and then where the driver's head should be is the head of the actual driver in the car. I really like that. That is a clever livery. I do like that Aston Martin as well. The rear end on that car just looks gorgeous. Riding on the back of Beltan now. As we see that PK still looks to be looking like he wants positions. He does seem to have dropped a position. I don't know where that drop came from. Maybe from that spin, because Cisco is still in front of him. But Murdoch is behind him. And I thought Murdoch was the other car that passed him. But I think Beltan was behind as well, but Beltan might be in front. ProSim Leo looks like he might be back on track. 2 laps down maybe. In 15th position. Would be good if he is. Good to see another car on track. And Nissan definitely looking like he wants that position. But he just can't seem to keep up with Beltan at the moment. Coming around Coca-Cola, you can see that Beltan's still running those wets. Well, definitely running wets, because he's trying to keep them cool. Chris is a little bit closer to the edge of the wet line, so he'll be compromising cooling down his tires a little bit, but ultimately he's trying to stick to the wet line too. Those wet tires really get warm on that dry line. I know the Nissan setup was somewhere like because for some reason Nissan had more grip with lower pressure tires, so the Nissan was on like 27 psi, and on that dry line it'll spike it all the way up to like 32, 33 psi, even though it was that low. Oh, PK looks like he's gonna be getting position from Beltan. Beltan having to stay on the inside line now to try and defend his position. As we come through Dunlop, Beltan still holding his position, still fighting off PK, but PK is getting uber close to Beltan there. Coming up Schumacher's. Beltan on the brakes a little bit there on the compromised line because he's up the inside. Beltan loses it. Beltan lost control of it. Oh no, drama for Beltan. He has lost control of the car. That means PK is allowed to get past and promote himself to 11th. But oh, that is devastating news for Beltan there. It looked like he had a little bit of a wobble and just lost it. Just lost the car. So, Cisco looking like he wants to battle with Nord. Maybe Nord was having issues because Cisco was quite a bit further back. So it's interesting how quick Cisco's caught them. Oh, and it looks like an Audi's had an incident, and that's held up Nord. So the Audi and the Ferrari are now in a drag race to the first corner. Audi on the inside line, and Cisco just lingering in the background, also wanting a piece of this. So the Audi takes the corner, but he has a wobble on the outside, and then that holds up Nord, allowing Cisco to get past Nord. But Cisco still can't get around that Audi, and that allows Nord to go back up the inside of Cisco. Now that was close. That was nearly a loss and a gain for Nord. He nearly gained a position to the Audi, but the way the Audi was parked on the track, trying to turn around, that held up Nord. Then Cisco was in for the run, and then yeah, that was wild. That was real wild. But ultimately, we come round now, and they're still in the same position. So Cisco's definitely looking racy, and Freezer seems to be having a problem with that Audi. He seems to be making a few mistakes. Probably down to the track conditions, but he's definitely not comfortable in that car. Maybe the Ferrari is just better around in wet. Who knows? This looks like a replay on board of Sakame, and yes, it is. Sakame loses it going down Vorsteiner curve, and on the board you can see that Sakame lost position to Burns, put him in 4th position with no real reason. And as you can see, Burns just coming up the inside there. Oh, that looks like Sakame might have got pushed there, so it might be something for the race officials to look at. But Burns, should he really been going for that? There's the other replay. That's a bit inconclusive, but I don't know. I think the race officials going to want to look at that. And Kostovic loses it. Kostovic loses it, goes through NGK, and that allows Sakame to actually gain his position back. So yeah, well, that was a interesting turn of events. Sakame on a good run and loses it in Vorsteiner. Burns goes up the inside going into Advan Bogan, which then looked to have pushed Sakame off track. And then Kostovic gets past, and Kostovic actually loses out. Coming into Dunlop, we can see that Sakame definitely wants that position back, fighting back with Burns, but being on the outside line couldn't capitalise on it, but he's looking to get on the inside line of this. Burns bails out. That was clever moving by Burns, because Sakame was not giving that position up, definitely not. And that could have ended up in such a bad situation. Sakame having a wobble on brakes then, being on the wrong line, slick tyres in the wet conditions. Yeah, Sakame nearly loses it. Where are we now? I think this is the replay of the Audi, the lost in Coca-Cola. Yep, he's lost her in Coca-Cola, and we can see Nord and... oh, did he hit him? No, he didn't hit him. Good job by Nord to avoid him, and then the drag race down to the straight. So Sakame, yeah, Sakame's now ahead of Burns. So good work by Sakame. He's having a difficult time around this track, to be fair. I know he's usually really good in this track, but these tricky conditions are really proving how tricky they are. There's a lot of mistakes being made that drivers don't usually make. But yeah, these wet conditions are really playing their part. We're now on board with Nord by looks fair. Cisco is still looking to get back on the back end of him. And that 888 Audi is not pulling away either. Coming around Coca-Cola. Cisco is definitely looking like he's got a better run on Nord here. Cisco going up to the wet line, and I'm pretty sure Nord's going to be compromised here. I'm pretty sure Nord has wet tyres. I thought Cisco had had dry tires though, but he's made a stick. He's made a stick. He didn't overshoot, which would have happened if he was on the slick tires. So I guess he might be running wet. Nord loses it. Oh no, 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 no! We didn't want that. Nord loses it going through the Mercedes arena. Cisco hits him, so I think Cisco might be having a bit of an issue up until pits, because that definitely would have caused Cisco to have damage on the front. But yeah, Nord loses it. That allows Chris PK to get past as well. So commiserations for Nordby, loses 2 positions in that incident. Riding on board Kostovic here. I think this is the replay. The replay Kostovic, because Shane Reese seems to have got past him somehow. And coming through Mercedes arena, what we got going on? Yeah, he's lost it. He's a little bit too far. Done well to keep her out of the wall though. But yeah, just a little bit too far. Loses the back end. Once that back end's gone, there's nothing you can do in these wet conditions. You just got to ride that slide out. Southall looking like to start lapping, starting to lap the field. Coming up against Murdoch. Where are we to? Can't see what part of the track we're on. But yep, Southall's lapping his way through the field. Next car now is Walker, which, with the pace that Southall has been running, really isn't going to take long. He's doing a phenomenal job in this race. It's interesting though how much grip those slick tyres have even in those wet puddles. Yeah, Walker gives the position away, making sure that not to get in the way. Good driving by Walker. But yeah, again, it's interesting to see how much grip those slick tyres have in these wet conditions. Because look at him, he's on that wet line again, but he's so stable on those brakes. Now I thought he would be a little bit more wobbly than that, but he is real stable on those brakes in the wet. Obviously, slicks might have been the better choice. Oh, that was strange. Wonder what went on there. Back to Southall anyway. Southall going through NGK. Oh, Southall loses it in NGK, but Walker loses it in NGK as well. Walker goes for a full spin, whereas Luke looks like he lost it, but managed to keep it straight, so he managed to get straight back on the track. But yeah, Walker, just complete rotation there then. That was strange. That was real strange. Riding on board with... ooh, that looked like Burns was going to lose it then. And he's being chased down by that 91 Nissan. You can just see that 91 Nissan looming in the background. Coming through NGK, does he keep it clean? Yeah, he keeps it on track. So, this race is really proving tricky. There's a lot of movement being up and down the field. There's only really one incident to speak of. Looks like it's people starting to take the pit stops. But yeah, there's only really one incident to speak of, and that was the Sakame one. A little bit of controversy, but I'm pretty sure the stewards are still looking at it now. But yeah, that's the only real incident. The rest of them is just people losing control in tricky conditions, like car sliding, just coming off track, brakes not being where they thought they would be in. Oh, and for perfect example, the Nissan just loses it. Jumped on board with the Nissan, but I think we're a little bit late. We jumped on board as he's recovered. But yeah, perfect example. Just people losing control of the car rather than actual incidences going on. So that was a shame because, ooh, and a wobble from Burns. Burns nearly loses it. These track conditions, man, they're difficult. Riding on board with Nord now. Nord sticking to the inside because Frazen seems to have lost control of it. So Nord now looking to go into the pits, and Nord, where you going, dude? Where you going? The pits are that way. You didn't want to go in the pits. What are you doing in the pit line? Okay, that was strange. But yeah, in one lap, that's really weird considering all that happened in the same lap. So Luke Southall lost it, Walker lost it. I don't know what happened with Nod. I understand he stuck to the inside because Frazen lost it. But yeah, what the hell are you doing, man? So, going to tyre cam. After pit stops, it looks like Luke Southall is stuck with the slick tyres, which proven to be really good for him as the race goes on. S Reese is now going into the pits, so it'll be interesting to see what tyres he puts on, whether he sticks to wets or not. And Southall now leaving the pits, but yeah, Southall got confidence in those in those dry tyres by the looks of it. Frazen shooting down to turn 1, and I don't think he's going to battle Luke for position. No, I think he's just going to let him go. Is this Sakame? Tyre cam from Sakame. Sakame looks like he's sticking with wet tyres. Dry tyres, I mean. We'll find out when the wheels start turning, if they do start turning. Oh, that's the car down. Yeah, he's sticking with the dry tyres. Not wet, dry. So yeah, Sakame on the dry tyres. Sakame looks like he's leaving the pits now, as Hutchins definitely on those wet tyres. Think this is the Nissan. Going by the animation, this is the Nissan, because yeah, I'd say that was the Nissan. Nissan going back on the wet tyres. Filtering through now. Cisco's in the pits, Hutchins, PK's in the pits, Kostovic is now going into the pits. Nord, what's happening with Nord here? Coming around NGK. Oh, no, this is the replay of Frazen. My apologies. So yeah, Kyle Frazen came in, just lost the back end, and you can see Nord, like a last minute decision. It's like, and he loses it going into the pits. Frazen has not had a good race. Such unluckiness for Frazen here. So he loses it going into NGK. He goes, do you know what? Pit window's open, I'll go into the pits, and then loses it into the pits. He really does not like the section of that track in the wet. Or that section of this track in the wet, my apologies. And looking at here, it looks like Beltan might be looking to make a move on Murdoch. I think Murdoch is on that dry tyres. And coming through NGK, all looking good. Murdoch pushing his leg a little bit, but there. Saw him starting to use that curb. But yeah, everything looks okay at the moment. Beltan maybe on dry tyres now? Because I would have thought Beltan would have been over on the wet line. Because this is after the pit stop. So that's in wrong. Murdoch goes straight on again. Murdoch clearly having issues with that corner. Probably because of the wet conditions, but Murdoch definitely having issues with that corner. But yeah, it's interesting to see Beltan sticking to the dry line now. The only thing I can assume is he's swapped from wet tyres to dry tyres. Because I know 100% that we've done the grid walk, and I remember that he was on wet tyres. But Murdoch also looks like he might be on the dry tyres, because he's sticking to that dry line a bit. Hutchins looking to get past now. Looking to lap the Murdoch and Beltan himself, just lingering in the background. I think Hutchins might be on the wet tyres. Yeah, I think he might come back out of the pits on wet tyres. Beltan goes off. Beltan goes off. What can I say? All that hard battling for him to get past Murdoch, and Beltan actually goes off track. Again, he hasn't had much luck in this race. Beltan's usually like mid-grid up, but he's really struggling at the back. And Murdoch seems to be going really slow into that corner, which allows Beltan to get right back on the back bumper of him. And Hutchins just clears him off and starts making his way up the field. But yeah, that's interesting, because as I said, Beltan's mid-grid upwards. Right on board Southall, and looks like Burns has just let him go. I don't remember seeing Burns entering the pits though. So does that mean Burns? Oh, Murdoch going into a bit of a slide there, which allows Beltan to get back up on him. But yeah, Burns might actually be on the wet tyres looking at that. Burns, Murdoch, my apologies. And what we have here, we have Frazen up the inside of Nord. But now Nord is on the inside for the next corner. Is he going to get the cut back? Nope, the space seems to plateau out. Beltan and looks like Sakami might be lapping the field himself. Yes, I presume that is, because I'm sure yeah, Sakami would have been out of the pits like 2 laps ago, I'm sure of it. But yeah, go back to what I was saying. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen Burns actually enter the pits, which is why Southall probably had to pass him again, and maybe Burns knows that because he's missed the pit window now. Maybe Burns knows that and just, instead of fighting, just let him go, because he's definitely going to receive a penalty after the race for that. Just a question of how long the penalty is going to be. So riding on board S Reese now. I think this is the replay. Yep, we found the replay of S Reese when he was on the back of Burns, but yeah, it just looks like he's lost it. Good job by Frazen to see ahead enough not to plat into the side of Shane Reese, but yeah, Shane Reese just losing control of the car. Again, this pretty much the story of this race is everyone's losing control of the car rather than actual incidents, so it's a really good job by the drivers for the cleanness of the racing. So Burns sort of like disappeared to the right. No, he's just let Nord and Frazen through without any resistance at all. So Burns obviously having an issue. Didn't go in the pits, so maybe he's suffering with tyre wear, because I'm pretty sure Burns is running wet tyres, and if you're running on that dry line too much, it does burn those tyres up pretty quick. Oh, look at that, the 888 just looking like he wants that position from Nord now, getting real close, getting back in the wet line. So I take it as both of these drivers are running wet tyres after the pits, but Burns again just really drifting away. And Burns loses there, which allows Walker to get past. Just sitting on the back of Nord now. That Audi, the front of that Audi just looks epic. It looks so mean. And then just seeing it as all the spray gets kicked up, you can really see that car dive on the brakes as well. When he's braking, you can see that the front of the car just dip down. They've done an amazing job with this title, they really have. But yeah, so far Nord is staying ahead, but that Audi is not going anywhere. That Audi is definitely looking like he wants that position. Just not pushing too much. Oh, he's getting close. Maybe he wants a good exit out of this next corner and hopefully try and drag Nord down to turn 1. But Nord looks like he might have better traction on the exit. Yeah, I say Nord's got better traction on the exit, but Nord in that wet line, which increases the drag on the car, so he's going to be slowing down while that Audi is on the dry line. But how are we going to come into turn 1? Nord holding his line, takes that apex, that Audi trying his best to get the under, but again, Nord held his line real well. That was good defended by Nord. And Frazen again has to settle for being behind. It looks like this is pretty much going to be the battle for the next couple of laps. As you can see, Walker's catching up on the back as well now. So these two are actually slowing each other down, and Walker's catching up on the back. Yeah, Walker's really catching up with our Audi now. The Audi's like falling a little bit behind the Ferrari, but he's really been put in the clutches of that Bentley. And that Bentley might be... I think that Bentley is on wet tyres as well. So I think all three of these cars are on wet tyres. Nord goes very wide. He's all in the dirty part of the racetrack. Is that Audi going to make an opportunity here? Coming up Schumacher S's. Makes a good choice to bail out of that one. But again, they're all so close to each other in this wet condition. It's almost asking for an incident. But real good driving by all three drivers. And walk again ever so closer to that Audi. I don't know, maybe they're like separated by like a second, if that, second and a half. But yeah, this looks like it's going to be a real close battle for 9th position. And I can see us being here for a while. Looking up and down the grid, it looks like Sakami might be catching up to Hutch. So a 0.2 difference there, but we can't take our eyes away from this battle, because coming out of Coca-Cola now, again we've seen that Audi seems to have better drive coming, better straight line speed than what that Ferrari does, even though the distance seems to be holding out right now. But as Nord comes through, is that Audi going to get a better run out this time? I don't know, but that Bentley, they just all sort of, they all sort of still look like they're about the same. Hutch seems to be pulling away from Sakame again, looking at the relative times. PK's done really well. PK, he's come from one before, no, I think he was actually stone cold last, and now he's up to 6th position. So PK doing really well. Yeah, coming round Dunlop curve is getting close here again. It's really getting heated between these three racers. I'd hate to be in that seat right now. It's my apologies, that wasn't Dunlop curve, that was Ford curve. But yeah, I'd really hate to be in that seat now. Just the slightest mistake from either car. And even bigger from Nord, as it looks like Nord might have had a mistake. That Audi looking like he was all over the back bumper then, maybe even looking like he was going to collide with him. But Nord looks like he might have a bad exit there. Nord is in the worst position here, because if he makes a mistake, he could potentially be losing 2 positions, not just 1. They are so close to each other, and Walker potentially in the best position, because if Nord and Fraser decide to have a little bit of an incident, Walker couldn't just ride on by. Just Walker looking ever so eager, hoping for a mistake there. You can see it. You can see it. He's holding back, hoping for one of them to make a mistake. He's not pushing too hard. He's just, you can tell he's just sitting there. Audi definitely seems to have a better run out of that Coca-Cola curve, but he has had a lot of bad luck in that part of the track. But again, coming down the pit straight, just doesn't seem to be able to get around Nord. Coming in turn 1, he's all over the bumper of Nord, doing his best not to hit him. And that Bentley looked like he was going to try and make a move, but on the outside line, that's never going to work. Coming from the back end of Mercedes now, that Audi is definitely looking closer to that Ferrari, and that Ferrari's starting to look like he's struggling. I don't blame him though. Look at the pressure he's under, man. He's got the Audi all over his back bumper, knowing if he makes a mistake, that Bentley is going to follow him right through. Looking at the standings, it looks like Sakami has got past Hutch. What's happening here? We riding on board with Sakami? Yes, riding on board with Sakami as we're watching him overtake Hutch. Hutch loses it, so he makes a mistake going in through the back end of the Mercedes arena, which allowed Sakami to get past. Now back to this battle. Can't take our eyes away from this battle. Looking in the back. Oh no! I was just looking in the background and I just see that Nord has come off track. I was going to say, looking in the background, Kostovic looks like he's catching, but then Nord just loses it. Oh, that's a real shame. So Nord loses out. As I said, if he makes a mistake, he loses 2 positions, not just 1. And Nod's still looking a bit messy back there, trying to push too hard by the looks of it. He's now battling with Kostovic. So these two front runners, well, I say front runners, these two are now battling for 9th position. I can see that Bentley wanting to make a move a bit more now, considering he hasn't got Nord in front holding both of them up. So if he can make a position, make an attack here, he might promote himself to 9th position, take that away from Friesen. But yeah, Kostovic, looks like Kostovic has actually passed Nord now, as they're coming across the start-finish line. Relative has bounced up to say that Kostovic is around Nord. So Nord having a real problematic lap there. Such a shame, because he was doing so well defending, but again, tricky conditions, and he was under a lot of pressure, man. So yeah, unlucky Nord. See him in the background now, Nord and Kostovic, but I still won't put it out yet, because Kostovic still looks like he's catching these two as they're battling, and Walker comes off. Walker on the wrong part of the racetrack when he hit the brakes then to start turning, on the dirty line of the racetrack, and that's now allowed for Kostovic to catch up on Walker. Walker on the brakes, getting very wobbly on the brakes. So is this the drivers actually starting to show a bit of wear and tear themselves? Kostovic is really on the back of that Bentley now. Bentley going through the Schumacher X's. I think he's managed to regain his composure a bit. But again, Nord looks like he's catching up again. And Kostovic definitely looking to get that position away from Walker. Again, looking in that background, Nord still looks like he wants to catch up. This is really going to be the talking point here. This is a replay of Kostovic on Nord. So yeah, Nord looks like he went a little bit too wide, got into that dirt, which allowed Kostovic to just cruise on by. It's a real shame for Nord again. He's battled so hard, but ultimately just making those little mistakes, and those little mistakes are really costing him. Coming down pit straight, you can see that the Bentley, oh never mind, ignore the Bentley, we see that the Audi just came off track. What happened there? The Audi was looking so good and then suddenly just completely lost it. On board with the Audi now, let's see what happened here. So he's getting ready to go on the brakes, and oh, I think he had a wheel in the wet and a wheel in dry, maybe? Like a lot of the wet or something? Because as soon as he hit those brakes, that just shot the car to the side. That really shot the car off. So yeah, again, tricky conditions, proving difficult for the drivers. And that makes him lose... Well, he loses position to Walker and Kostovic. Considering how close Nord was, I would say he lost his position to Nord. And that looks like it could be Sakame working his way through traffic. So, yeah, he's on the slick tyres this time round. I think he was on the wets originally. So now, yeah, looking at his tyres, he's on slick tyres. Maybe those slick tyres just... where he was braking in the wet, just no traction, caused him to come off completely. So riding on board with S2r1 now. This is a replay of S2r1 passing Hutchins, and looks like Hutchins has had a problem. No straight line speed there at all, and Shane nearly loses it going into the dirt. But I think that was an overcompromisation of Hutchins possibly being on that inside of that corner. But again, there's some strange things going on in this race. What a season opener. So Chris PK is doing well. He's moved up to 6th as we are now filtering through, trying to find the next battle. But yeah, as the standings stand at the moment, we have Southall first. Oh, that was close. I take that was Sakami. Yes, Sakami. I thought Sakami was going in the back of that Bentley then, but nope. Good work by Walker to try and well, to actually see him and just let him go. But yeah, I thought Sakami was going in the back of that Bentley. So yeah, as the standings now stand, we have Southall in first, just storming ahead, man. He is like gone. Sakami now filtering through traffic in second. I do apologise, got hiccups. Sakami moving through track end in second. And Shane Reese is now in third. Hutchins dropped to fourth, but it looks to be like he's having an issue for some reason. Kostovich nearly losing it, going through Dunlop curve. But yeah, again, it's a strange one. Jixer in fifth. Chris PK again started last. Is in sixth, but I say that Jixer started 14th, and so he started the one position before Chris PK, and he's naturally one position ahead of Chris PK. So those two drivers have done a superb job from getting to the back of the grid to the front, well, to the front runners really. So yeah, it's Chris PK 6th, you got Cisco in 7th, Burns in 8th, but remember Burns has got a penalty due to oh no, we got Walker going off track as he was looking to battle with Nord. Just a mistake by Walker again. So yeah, remember Burns has got a penalty due to him not going through the pits. So how that makes him, well, what position he'll end up after the time penalty has been issued will be interesting. But yeah, that's knocked Walker off the back now, and just see Sakami in front of these two. So yeah, Sakami's having a good run, Southall's having a good run. So yeah, let's just say Sakami to be in second from the incidents that he had. So he got bumped in turn 3, 4. He got bumped on turn 5, I believe. Yeah, bumped on turn 5. Hit off track. He's lost control of the car. Come off track. Then one of the other laps, he's lost control of the car again. Come off track, and then as he was recovering, Burns got around him up the inside, going through. Where was he going through to? Advent Bogan, I think it was. Like one of the fastest parts of the track with that kink on the right hand. I think it's Advent Bogan. So he went up the inside Sakami there and pushed him wide. And now Sakami's in second after all that. So Sakami's had an amazing drive. Filtering through again to try and find our next battle. Yeah, it just looks like it's going to be these two battling. Murdoch and Friesen seems to be a bit close. Beltan off again. So Beltan really struggling with these conditions. I remember him saying that he's struggling a bit with that Lamborghini in the wet anyway. But yeah, really struggling in these conditions. Riding on front of Walker now as we come out of Coca-Cola. It looks like Walker might have a run on Nord. So I don't know, the Nord looks like he might be pulling away. But I don't know, Nord's been strong in this first corner. So let's just see how this first corner actually comes about. I think that was a little bit of a wobble from Walker then. Coming into Mercedes. Nord has lost it here. Walker's definitely got a better run going into Mercedes than what Walker has. Yeah, Nord. Walker's got a better run than Nord. My bad. Yeah, mixing up what I'm saying. Oh, that was a better exit of Mercedes by Walker for definite. But again, that Ferrari seems to have better traction, because even though Walker had a better exit, he couldn't seem to drive away, which I think on a dry track he probably would have. And now he's fallen behind again. So yeah, that was an opportunity for Walker, missed it. looks like it's heating up again, because in the background we got that Audi making his way back. So well, Shane Reese has got nowhere to go. He's in limbo. Jix is in limbo. Chris is in limbo. Hutchings seems like he's got a problem. Doesn't seem to be moving very fast. I think Hutchings might have a fuel issue in that car. Maybe he hasn't got enough fuel in the tank, and he's just started like really preserving fuel really drastically in the last like what would it be, like 8 laps, 5 laps, something like that. So maybe he just underestimated how much fuel he was going to use. Coming through NGK, we can see that Walker is now catching again. But look, just in the background, Friesen is getting on the back of the train. Kostovich off. So that Kostovich loses his position. So Nord now moves up to 9th. Walker moves up to 10th. And Friesen moves up to 11th. So again, it's still not over. It's still really close what's going on here. And then don't worry about the very last car, because he's a lapped car, but he might get involved with the mix. And if he does, that might change the dynamic up again. But yeah, that was strange. Kostovich off. That's another 3 positions lost from Kostovich. But if he manages to really drive this race, he could probably end up on the back of these again. And there he is. There's a replay of it. He comes around the right-hander of Coca-Cola and yeah, just loses the back end. It's like the story of this race. Everyone just losing the back end of the car. These tricky conditions are really showing how tricky they are. And there you go, he's struggling to get back on track as well. So yeah, he's a big loss on that one. Which again is a shame, because he was running in 9th. And Walker tagging the back of Nord. That's a little naughty. But does that mean Walker is trying to intimidate Nord, saying, look me, I got the run on you. Coming to the Schumacher S's, and that was brave. That was really brave, especially in the wet conditions. Good work by Walker to get past there. And what's this? Walker's overshot. So all that hard work, that braveness going through the Schumacher S's, and Walker overshoots, which just gives Nord his position back. But ultimately, Walker loses his position because he loses it to Friesen. So a very good move, very brave, and then he loses it. That's a real shame for Walker there. It just goes to show, though, he has the capability of doing it. The Audi getting a good run on Nord there, but coming into Coca-Cola, Nord holds his line. So Nord showing that he can be a very, very good defensive driver, but these tricky conditions are catching everyone out as well. But again, Nord showing that he can be a very good defensive driver, because to be fair, he hasn't done much attacking. He's got positions, but most of his race, I'd hate to see what he was like after this race. I could just imagine him being just a complete sweaty mess. Just, he's had so much hard defending to do in this race. But yeah, he's defended really well. Coming out of coming out of Mercedes, that Audi again just seems to be a little bit better on there. Don't want to move away from that battle, but for some reason Southall's moving really slow. He's off the throttle. His engine revs are still high. So what's he doing here? Is he running out of fuel? Is he just sort of like trying to coast it across the line? Right, back on the side. Oh, I see what he's done there. Checkered flags. So he's waited the time down for the checkered flags. Right, I see what happened there. But Nord does now seem to be pulling away from Friesen. Walker seems to be on the back of Friesen. So this might be the next battle for position. And just see how this goes. Shane Reese is on the back of Kostovich. I just saw in the background. But Shane Reese is lapping. That's not for position. So we'll keep an eye on these as we get ready to approach NGK and see if, well, we've seen quite a few times that the Audi loses it here. So will he lose it again, allowing Nord to get through? So the penalty is being awarded to Burns. Don't know why it's saying 0 seconds, but the officials will definitely have a look at that and award a proper penalty to Burns for after the race. The one incident I didn't mention the outcome of was the incident with Sakame being hit off with, was it a Southall? Yeah, so that incident was deemed as a racing incident, so there was no penalty awarded for that. So now, looking at the timetable, we can see that Luke Southall first, winner of the race. Fantastic drive on those dry tyres. Sakame second, again, unbelievable drive. He stuck with the dry tyres for both stints and it paid off. The incidents that dude had to face with as well, and to get himself back up the order to be in second, incredible drive by Sakame. Shane Reese in third, again, really good drive from Shane Reese. Jigsaw fourth. Now he's had a very good drive as well when you consider he started all the way down 18th position. Yeah, it was 19 cars on track, so he must have started in 18th position. I know we had a few disconnects, but yeah, he's done a really good job. Chris PK, another one. He started in 19th, or stone cold last. He started, and he's ended up in 5th position. Cisco 6th. Nord, he had 7th. Well done to Nord. Such hard race for him. It's really good battling from Nord, but yeah, promoted to 7th. Frazen 8th, 9th Walker. Kostovic had 10th. Cusano 11th. Burns had 12th. Hutchings 13th. Beltan 14th. And then I'm pretty sure these are all the disconnects. So we have, yeah, these are the disconnects. So we had Danny, who had, no, Danny was on track. He was that yellow McLaren, yellow and white one. Pro Street Sim Leo had a disconnect, and I think the other three didn't start. Signed up for the championship, but they just weren't sure for the start. So yeah, so Jigsaw and Chris PK probably started like 16th and 15th, not 19th and 18th. But yeah, brilliant drive from all the drivers. Now for the teams, we have Mustard GD with 56 points, and they are being accompanied with Slow Racing Team, also with 56 points. So Mustard GD and Slow Racing Team tied first. Pro Street Sim with 45 points is third. Madhouse Racing is fourth with 38 points. And to round out top 5, we have 949 Sim Racing in 5th with 30 points. I just want to say thanks again for everyone for watching. Yeah, thanks for 949 Sim Racing for putting these races on. What a first race. That's all I can say. What a first race. If any of you mad people are here long enough to watch the whole race through, please leave a comment in the description and let me know what you think. How's the graphics? Because I've been playing with a few of the graphics things. How's the race? How's the commentary? Anything I can improve on? And yeah, I'm hoping to make another one. So let me know if you still want me to make them, and I will. But it takes a lot of time to do these, so please bear with me, because this is taking way longer than what I expected. But yeah, please leave a comment, and thanks again for 949 Sim Racing for holding these races, honestly. And I'll see you all in the next one.